Welcome back to Podcast Recovery. We are your hosts, David O.
And Eric V.
Today we are joined by the always lovely Yuliya. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
That made her blush.
Cool.
That made her blush, everybody.
Just a little bit.
Yep, just a little bit. Where are you originally from?
I'm actually from a country that doesn't exist anymore, USSR.
Oh, you're
Now it is
Soviet.
just Belarus.
Just Belarus. Can you speak Russian?
Yeah, absolutely. Speak, read, write.
I've never heard you speak Russian. Will you speak a little bit right now?
Maybe in a minute.
Okay,
You can't
fair
put me in a
enough.
spot like that.
Okay, fair enough. I thought about that. When were you first introduced to recovery?
Early 2011.
Early 2011. And how long have you been clean?
Since early 2011.
Perfect. Nice. All right.
7 years.
Nice. Fantastic. All right. Well, with all that out of the way and without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, lady.
I'm really nervous. This is definitely a new experience. I want to thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
This is so exciting. So I obviously live in the States now. And my parents' big American dream for me was not being a junkie.
Yeah.
That was not even my American dream for me. Like, my parents wanted me, for sure, to either become or better yet, marry a lawyer or a doctor.
Wait, it's better for you to marry a lawyer? Or
Yeah,
a
that
doctor?
way I don't have to do anything. I just be a stay-at-home person.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart. Parents looking out.
You know, have 2.5 kids, a house
Yeah.
with a white picket fence,
Yeah.
and just live in this country, which I really love. Really, having gone elsewhere to other countries, I have so much appreciation, but that's a whole other topic. However, my life is really what they have envisioned for me. It just doesn't look like what they were thought it was going to look like. So essentially, the end point is the same, right? I have a wonderful life, and really, it's more than they could have ever envisioned for me. But, you know, some people say that gifts come wrapped in different packages. And so when they thought I was going to go to school,
Like
and
that.
then high school, and then college, and then marriage and kids, like, it was a little different. The destination was the journey was different. The destination essentially is the same. So, God, where do I start? I don't necessarily think that my childhood is what made me use. My father definitely was abusive physically to all of us, to my mom, to my sister, although it's almost like a way of life, right? Like,
Yeah.
in Russia, sometimes it was just like that. The man was the man of the household, and the women were subsidiaries.
Yeah.
And
How long did you live in Russia?
12 years.
Wow.
So I've now lived here double the time that I've lived there.
Fantastic.
Almost.
Wow.
And so I don't believe in any way that that's what made me use. I was, for a long time, I was the only person out of my quote unquote friends that wasn't using. I was the designated drunk driver. Like, I would not do ecstasy, right? When they were doing ecstasy, cocaine, right? When we were 19, 20, 21. So early 2000s, we'll say. I thought I was going to die because I didn't want to do any drugs. I was like so against it. But the drinking, very much accepted,
Yeah.
right? I'm Russian.
Yes. Was vodka your first drink?
Yes, it was.
Fantastic. Perfect. What kind of vodka?
Svedka.
Svedka. But that's sweet. That's a Swedish
It was
vodka.
either Svedka or Absolute. So what would happen is,
Traitor. It should be Stolichnaya. It's terrible.
I think America is what happened.
Yeah.
So it was so what happened was, we're all 16, 17, and the adults and the kids would party together. So it would be at a big venue, it would be a big hoopla, and the kids would be on one side and the parents would be on the other side. And so kids would have their own alcohol. So it would be,
Wow.
I don't know, there is an American word for it, where like you come and the food is already on the table. So you don't serve yourself. It's on the table, and then they put it in the middle of the table, and people just put it on their plates, and then refills and different courses. Anyway, you don't order it.
Yeah.
It's already pre-ordered, but you don't go and get it from like
It's not a buffet. It's not a
buffet.
buffet.
Yeah.
No.
So when we would go to the parties, all the hors d'oeuvres were on the table and all the liquor was already on the table. There would be a white liquor, a brown liquor, and a wine. So it would be on the adults' table and then would be on kids' table.
Holy shit.
And it was normal. Nobody ever thought anything of it. That way we wouldn't be running to the adult table to drink. We just had our own, right? And even saying it now, it doesn't even seem out of the ordinary, honestly, because that's just how it was. Yeah. That's what we were used to. But I was like a goody-goody for a long time. I maybe have had drinks in front of my parents maybe 1 or 2 times in my whole life, right? Because it's just not, the women in my family didn't really drink. My sister still doesn't drink. My mother doesn't drink. I took one for the team.
There you go. Yeah. Somebody had to be the black sheep.
Well, right. So, we drank for a long time. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. It was parties and it was promiscuity and it was, a subculture within a culture. So all of us Russian people, we all stuck together. And the interesting thing is I was really bullied when I first came to the States. But I was also bullied within the subculture. And so I was just always trying to fit in. And so.
Was it here in Maryland?
Yeah. Good old Pikesville.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds
right? If I didn't wear a certain thing, if I didn't drive a certain thing, if I didn't have social status or any money, property, prestige. Yeah. Right? I had to live beyond my parents' means, essentially, because I wasn't working. So my poor parents, they had to do it. And so I was living beyond their means and I was just trying to fit in. So if it was a bottle of vodka that I needed to bring to the table, I couldn't show up empty-handed. Eventually, when I turned to heroin towards the end of my road, then I would just provide whatever pills of dope. But that was.
You were an awesome. Where were you when I was using? Good Lord, you're an awesome friend to have.
Right?
It's like, is Yuliya going to be at the party? Oh yeah, cool. We're good.
Maybe that's why they called me all the time.
Probably.
See, I thought I was.
You're bringing dope, like.
That's right. So, for the longest time, it was like not going to be. The drinking was not a problem. It was not apparent to me. It was apparent to the people around me. It was not apparent to me. And so at the age of 17, I got this great job. I was working for a small business and they became my second set of parents. So it became apparent to them because they were American. They were outside of the Russian culture. And so to them, my consumption of alcohol was like ridiculous. Yeah. And so they were the first ones to say anything to me, but I brushed it off. It was like whatever. Yeah. And we went through a cycle of they would fire me and they would hire me and they would fire me, right, as a punishment. And they would.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they didn't know, right? They don't know. Yeah. And I would be sorry. I would not want to disappoint, right? And so I would not clean up my act, but I would beg and plead and they would take me back. And what happened was...
That always starts a bad story.
I thought I was a productive member of society. I had moved out. I moved out of my parents' house into my sister's house. My sister was pregnant with her second kid, and she said, when we have the second kid, we really think that you should move, but you can't move back with our parents. You have to get your own place. And I was really resentful, right? Like, who are you to decide for our parents whether or not they want to have me back? But that wasn't an option. Yeah. The dynamics in the family are strange. My sister was more of a parent than my parents were my parent in that aspect. Like, whatever my sister said went. And so I moved out into an apartment in Towson. I just adore the penthouse view, right? I was up in the towers.
Oh, you're bougie.
Not at all. And so I thought I continued to be a productive member of society. But I continued to drink. And so I went from that apartment to an apartment in Reisterstown to a house with 2 guys in Reisterstown who then eventually got sick of my drinking, got sick of me bringing whoever home, and asked me to move out. So at the age of 27, I believe, I found myself back living with my parents where my mom was doing everything for me. My greatest enabler. And I went from paying my own bills to like, I don't have rent, I don't have anything. So really, what's there to complain about?
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine offered me, she had an 80 that she brought. We were hanging out at my house. She brought an 80 and she said, like, let's do this. And I was like, no, I'm going to die. I don't want to do it. I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Right? Because all through clubbing, like, we had a routine on weekends. Would go to the restaurant, then we would go to an after-hours club on Charles Street, and that was the routine. And while everybody was rolling and snorting coke, I would just do one Adderall because it would help me stay up.
I've done that before.
Yes.
I've done that exact move that you're talking about.
Right?
Oh,
2 shots of vodka and Adderall. And so when she offered me that 80, I was like, no, absolutely not. Well, she was like my road dog until the end. And so she said, just do a quarter. And that quarter is what did it.
Yep.
And all throughout growing up, I would hear about heroin junkies, and I would be judgmental of people.
Yeah.
And especially Russian people, right? That I knew, like, you came to this country. Why are you doing heroin? I just couldn't grasp the concept until the shoe was on the other foot.
Yeah.
Right? I remember somebody calling me from a basement of an apartment, asking me for a ride. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Why are you even calling me?
Yeah.
Right? But now I know, right? But now I know what it was like. So, I was listening to one of the podcasts on the way over here. It's amazing.
Which one?
I listened to Emily P.
Oh,
I listened to some of Paul's, and then I listened to some of Emily P's.
Hers was great.
I'm gonna finish listening to it on the way home. And she said she was a low bottom, and I think I would consider myself a high bottom. But like, what qualifies, right? It's like saying,
it's really just like your own
Right?
perception, really.
Right. So I didn't get arrested. Didn't have to prostitute myself. Didn't have to strip, right? Work at a strip club. I was fortunate enough. So at my job, I had saved a bunch of money at the age of 26. I was just like stashing money away. And when I found drugs, it just all went. Like, it all fit into a syringe.
Oh, yeah.
And it all took an 80. And so, you know, just like with anything else, I did it. And it was like the weight of the world. Couldn't even tell you what that was. Like, what is the weight of really?
Yeah.
What responsibilities did I have? But I felt like I could breathe for the first time.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of the end. It went from a weekend warrior to Wednesday weekend warrior to Monday, Wednesday weekend warrior.
Oh, yeah.
To then it became too expensive, to crack houses not too far from here, to, like, I was using with this guy who had a girlfriend who was in jail. Thought I loved him.
Yep.
I still have a diary where I like recorded that.
Oh, wow.
Using diaries. Using diaries are the best.
Wow.
Oh my God, I have one too. It's amazing.
They are dark, though.
They are very dark.
They're very dark.
But looking back on them now, you're just like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of like the Facebook reminders that come up. I have Facebook reminders from like when I was using, and they're just the saddest things. I'm like, Jesus, you were miserable. Why did anybody hang out with you?
But yet, look, birds of a feather, right? I mean, I remember driving, I think for the first time to cop heroin, right? And we saw this guy walk in, and we just asked him, like, do you know where to get some, right? But nobody, like, who does that, right? But addicts do it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All the time.
The Haymaster? Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Like, but do you know? They always know.
Yeah.
Yep.
right?
I kind of it's fucked up. We're like totally profiling, like, oh, that guy totally has fucking whatever we're looking for. It's just like it's written on their forehead, and they're like, "Are you the cops?" No. All right. Yeah.
Right, but yet when I was in the thick of active addiction, that was going to be my line if I was ever got pulled over or anything, right? In any of the neighborhoods I was at, that was going to be my thing, right? Racial profiling. Oh,
well, because you're Russian?
Yeah.
That was it?
Oh. Yeah.
Right.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Right, so that was going to be, but it never worked because a girl I used with, she got locked up and there was no such thing. But we'll just make those stories up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just in so much fear. I remember driving to cop and I was crying. I mean, I was so naive about using and anything. You know, I'm coming from work. I dress in professional work clothes.
You're always stylish.
But that's what I would wear to go cop, right?
Oh, me too. Yeah. Yeah, I'd wear like dress pants and like a dress shirt, like, because I'd be coming from work.
Right.
And like, I'm like, no one's going to like pull me over. Like, you know, like, yeah, I'm in the village, but like, it's fine. They're not gonna,
somebody, yeah.
You know?
People look like that in the village all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Irvington, all the time.
Irvington, not so much.
Sure they do.
Okay.
Right.
Moving on.
Right. But I had, looking back now, right, Visions 2020, like I know I had some kind of a guardian angel with me the whole time. Because even then, those row homes where I had to step over people to go and knock on the door of a room that's being subletted, right? Because it's per room. People didn't have refrigerators, stored their food in microwaves. The stench. Let me tell you how naive I was, right? So I would go to cop as if this was a convenience store and it worked from 9 to 9, right? And I could not go later than that.
That's hilarious.
Right. So I would knock on the door and I would say, hi, I'm looking for blah, blah. And they would say, she's either available or she's not available. And if she wasn't, I could just go up and here's her phone. I mean, it's incredible, right? Like, we'll just find ways and means.
That's hilarious.
And one night I said to her, at what hours can I come here?
What are your hours of operation, drug dealer?
And she would say to me, whenever. And it was, my mind was blown.
Oh, yeah.
And then the 2 o'clock in the morning and the 4 o'clock in the morning visits started.
Oh, yeah.
Just all hours of the night. And I remember her telling me she like sold chicken at Lexington Market. So like she had access at all times, all hours of the day.
Yeah.
Right? Like
she was in the war zone.
Yeah. And she didn't ask for, and look, when I would come, right? So speaking of guardian angels, when I would come, a lot of the times I'd call her and she'd like meet me. Or if I would be leaving her house, she would walk me to my car so that nothing would happen to me.
Oh.
Right? And so.
That's the sweetest dealer ever.
Well, she was sort of
relatively.
Yeah, she was sort of like, she would go get it. She was sort of like a runner.
Oh.
You know, she was like a 50-year-old woman that would just, she was.
Oh.
Anyway, long story short, I ran into somebody not too long ago and I had said her name, and this person who we have nothing in common other than the fact that we're both in recovery. We come from different neighborhoods, different socioeconomic, different everything. And he knew her. I was like, no shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I gotta tell, so the story, this is the all-time, the story of the stories, the Little Red Riding Hood story. That was...
Oh, wow. What?
That was, so I somehow had told people that I was snorting 80s. I can't remember what the circumstances were, and so or I was drinking, one or the other. And so I was trying to show my parents that like I wasn't doing this anymore and that I was going to be good, that everything's fine, I'm not going to drink anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started doing the pills. So it was about the drinking. So it wasn't about the pills. So I started using pretty heavily, no heroin yet, right? This was the beginning of the very end, right? PH, pre-heroin.
No, nice.
And I was using with a friend of mine, and my Russian friends had invited me to a Halloween party, right? It's like one of the centerpieces of my using story, this Little Red Riding Hood story. Fantastic. And so my Russian friends had invited me to the party, and I said to a friend of mine that I was using with, I gotta go, I gotta show face. I had like disappeared for a while. They're gonna talk stories about me, and they're gonna spread rumors about me. I don't want any of that. I want to show up.
Yeah.
And so she said, dude, don't go, let's just get high. And I was like, well, let's get high, and then I gotta go. So I said, do you have a costume? Any costume will do. I don't even care.
Wow.
So she went into her basement, and in some corner of some gross whatever garage basement, she finds this Little Red Riding Hood costume. It had stains on it. I didn't give a fuck. I just needed a costume.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm just showing face.
Yeah.
And so I went with them, and I get there, and they're like, well, we're going to Uber. And this was just at the beginning of the Uber days.
Yeah.
Late 2010. And I was like, what's a Uber? We're gonna get 2 vans, and we're not gonna drink and drive. And I was like, oh God of all nights, right now I'm stuck. And really I should have driven myself, as what should have happened. But nonetheless, I go, and I drank around the room, right? So I had already used, and I started drinking all the tables because people hadn't seen me, and I thought I was the life of the party, right?
Yeah.
People call me to get drunk all the time. They just need a drinking buddy, right? And so I start drinking around the room, and I just get toast. And so the next thing I remember is waking up in a hospital, right? And the story I got is
in the Little Red Riding Hood costume.
Oh, I had changed by then. So I was drinking, and then people saw me come out of men's bathroom. I had heard this rumor that if you do coke while you drink, you don't get drunk. That is a lie. I have to say that.
Yes.
That is a lie.
You're just a very alert drunk.
I don't even remember being alert.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Because the reason why I did it is because I heard it, right? And so now I know, for me anyway, it's not true.
Yeah.
You get a bonus, but that's about it.
So I walked out of the men's bathroom with white powder under my nose, and I continued to drink, and then we went to an after hours club, and I was carried in, and I was carried out. And then I was carried in, and then they asked the people I was with to carry me out. Yes.
No, just the fact that the bouncers let you go. They carried you in, and the bouncers weren't like, whoa, hold on a second. They were like, this is fine. You're just carrying this girl in.
It's Baltimore.
And it's like they open at 2 a.m.
Yeah. No, I know. I think that clubs are gross, but I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
It's a place that breeds like staph infections, but
at the time, though.
Yeah.
Right?
When you're when the parlance of your time, you
of course.
just do what you got to do.
Of course.
Yeah. And so eventually we ended up coming to this man's house, and I think what happened was I was sitting at the bar stool. He brought out a plate of Coke. He asked me if I wanted to drink, and I think I just went backwards, and I fell on my head, and I was bleeding all over the place.
Oh, God.
So he gave me clothes to change into, and we tried to stop bleeding because now we're both doing Coke, we're both drunk. He doesn't want to get arrested, right? It's like this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Can't stop the bleeding.
No.
He takes me to the hospital, a local hospital, and he just dumps me off.
Yep. Yep.
I walk into the hospital. They thought I had sustained a gunshot because it was covered in blood, because I had busted an artery, not a vein, and so an artery is hard to put a stop to.
They're squirters. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're pumping.
And so I wake up at the hospital, and all I remember is them saying to me that they might have to shave the back of my head, and I didn't care because at that point the Dilaudid pump was in me. I don't care. I'm like, all right, fuck it, shave it. I don't care. What else?
Yeah.
Right? And that is when I completely stopped drinking, but my addiction with other chemicals just completely took off. Because my parents were just happy to see me not drink, but they didn't know the other end. And so the life just became endless, getting and finding ways and means to get more. And I got fired. So I was at that job where the people were my parents for like 10 years. They fired me. I went into work. I rolled up my sleeves. I said, I need help. They said, okay. And then like 3 days later, they read up on some things and they're like, no, you have to go away to rehab. And I said, no, I don't want to. Yeah. And so it became a game of like, well, if I do MAT, oh man, what's that MAT?
MAT?
Yeah. It's a thing that, anyway, so I wasn't doing the substances, but he said I was using a crutch.
MAT.
I was on Suboxone. Maintenance.
Okay.
Okay.
I said, if I get that, will you let me work? He was like, no, that's a crutch. You have to be completely off of everything. And so the end of the road, the true end of the road was I went to cop. At that point, everybody in my family knew I was already using.
Yeah.
My nephew knew that I was using. He got in trouble with my sister, and he said, well, I can't believe I'm in trouble. Yuliya is doing heroin, and that's how everybody found out.
Oh, you got sold out by a nephew.
Right, but that's the best thing that could have ever happened, right?
And like I was just about to say that. I was like, that's like the greatest, worst thing to happen.
Yeah.
Or the worst, best thing.
Yeah.
Either way. Strike it, reverse it.
The job loss was in December. I think I was told on at some point in January because my sister was like, I'll get you a job, but I need I need a UA. And I'm like, I was pushing it. No, just give me 5 days. No, just give me 4 days, right? Eventually she busted in the door and she was like, you're using, we know it. What are we going to do? And it became a struggle until the end of the road was at Copt. I went to McDonald's. And I did what I saw on the show Intervention. Like, I never thought I was going to be that person. Like, how is a nice Jewish girl that moves from Russia to America end up in the hood on the bathroom floor in McDonald's? Because it just doesn't matter who it is. It just doesn't matter.
Yep.
And I laid everything out and I was ready to do my thing and somebody walked in on me.
Oh.
And because I was so afraid of getting locked up, I decided to go get help. And so again, right, the guardian angels along the way.
Did you flush everything? What happened?
Oh no, that's dumb.
I was like, how did that finish out? Somebody walked in, did you just throw a spool of toilet paper at him? What happened?
And so I remember one of the girls I was using with, she told me, I should call an 800 number. And so that's what I did. And I said, nothing is helping. I just need to go away. I need to go away completely, leave everything and just go. And so that's what I did on March 8th, 2011. And March 8th is very symbolic to me. So March 8th in Europe is like Mother's Day here, but it's an International Women's Day.
Oh, cool.
And it was such a gift to my mom, right? Yeah. I was going away. She wasn't taking me. The people that I had worked for 10 years, they took me to rehab. And I never looked back. And it was such a foreign concept to me of people relapsing because I thought if you get a reprieve, right? 28-day reprieve. I remember entering my parents' house and thinking to myself, is this it? Is this what my life is going to be? And how does it ever stop, right? Because the thoughts of using are constant. So, how does that even stop? And so I know that a person that has 2 days clean can help a person with 1 day because they stay an extra day clean, right? And so this girl told me, just don't worry about it. Just get involved, just show up. Right? Go to group, do whatever, eat, whatever, and just show up. And sure enough, she was right. She had a day on me, right? And then after 28 days, I was so grateful not to be in the darkness of active addiction. Like I was just, why would I even go back? And so it's the dealing with whatever life brings to me without having to put any substance in me. Right? Like it's has nothing to do with any kind of drug, with any drink, and nothing. It's like, how do I deal with what's in front of me now in a manner that I can get through without a use of a drink or a drug, right? And so life experiences, right? And people that I surround myself with, if I'm in pain and if I'm whatever it is I'm going through. And I can't say that I've been through, like, it's all relative.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what brings me pain could be different than what brings you pain.
Yep.
But the pain is the pain.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
And so in the beginning, it was just about, I found what I was finally, where misfits fit, right? Like I found my misfits.
You found the island of misfit toys. Yep.
I found it, and I like.
So when you were in rehab, did you hear about the fellowship?
Yes. Yes. Yep. We had, like on a Sunday, we had some people come in from a local fellowship, and they were actually from
the sober fellowship.
No.
Or the clean fellowship?
The clean fellowship.
The clean fellowship, okay.
They were actually from my area.
Okay.
Right, from Pikesville. And I remember saying to one of them, oh my God, I'll see you at meetings.
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh my God. It looked like a hot 20 days clean.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
But guess what? I did see them at meetings.
That's awesome.
Right? And I have
like that's always so good. Like, because I've gone into facilities like that, and people are like, oh yeah, like they get your phone number and they say I'll call you, and then it just never happens.
Yeah.
And like like when in the early days when that happens, you're like so bummed out, but like now it just doesn't happen a lot.
It just says right.
So when there is that person that you do see in the meetings, it's like you get so fucking stoked. It's like, oh my God, I know this person.
Yeah.
Hopefully it grows.
The gentleman that I saw at my facility recently asked me to be on some kind of whatever for a fellowship. So I just can't commit anymore. That I'm already overcommitted. But absolutely, I see him now less than I used to because I moved away from Pikesville. But absolutely, like, and who would have thought? He certainly didn't think that he was ever going to see me again.
Yeah.
See you at meetings, like.
That's
probably not.
That chick, 100%. I'm telling myself, you ain't. I'm not seeing you ever.
And but that's why you never know.
Yeah,
you can never measure a desire or a willingness of a person. You never know.
Yep.
And it's been a beautiful road. And let me tell you, surviving active addiction, that's been a beautiful road, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it really has. It, at the end of my life, I certainly...
That's a title right there,
sorry.
baby. I'm looking at him like, it's a beautiful road. Bam, title of your... There you go.
It's certainly maybe the person that I am today. For a fact, I know that at the end of my life, whenever that happens, I know that I've lived a life.
Yeah.
Even through all of that. Right? It takes hours to really describe what being an active participant in my life is. Oh my gosh. It's just the ups and the downs are hard and painful, and it feels like the darkness is never going to end, and it feels like just wait for that light at the end of the tunnel to even show up, right? To not know that there's even a spark, that there is a tunnel. It's just darkness. But having experience of going through painful situations that were really self-inflicted, right? Like I've put myself in some situations where for a long time, like, am I allowed to say what they are? I don't know.
Yeah.
At a year clean, I was like, Miss Recovery, and I was doing all the things that I was taught to do and participate and really be in the middle, right? So that I'm not snatched away. And so I decided that I was going to be in a relationship with a married man, right? Like outside the fellowship.
Yeah.
And I thought I loved this person. And I remember, and it was for a year and a half that I was participating in this. And it's because that was a normal, like when in active addiction, like the new normal became needles.
Yeah.
Like the new normal was somebody else's person. I just didn't know how to have my own person.
Yeah.
Didn't think I was worthy of my own person. And really, that's what it boils down to. Didn't know that it was like that there was somebody there for me. That if the person was good enough for you, that meant that they were good enough for me too, right? And not knowing that like moral compass there was no such thing.
Yeah.
And so for a year and a half, the people that were around me didn't judge me, didn't turn away from me, didn't co-sign it either, right? They would say to me like, this is not good, but they allowed me to have my process sort of. And at the end of that it was just a fork in the road.
Yeah.
Right. I had worked on myself a lot. Even though I was, as we say, living dirty over here, I really was still an active participant in my recovery. I was doing all the things that we are suggested to do. And so I firmly believe that is what held me. That was the safety net that caught me when I fell.
Yeah.
And so there was a fork in the road, I remember clearly, and I would just like pray to whatever it is that's out there. I still have never defined what that is. I just know that it works for me.
Perfect.
Right? I know
That's all that it has
right?
to.
It just, something is there. I don't even know what it is.
Yep.
And I said, either take it or like either give it to me fully or just take it. And I just know that I cannot live like this anymore. I do not want to be this person. And I remember clearly saying like, God, I'll cry for the next 6 to 8 to 9 months. Like, I don't care, but I just can't live like this anymore. And that was what I was told. You're either going to use or you're going to go through this and grow through this. And the safety net of the first year of my recovery, of doing all the things that I'm supposed to do and continuing to do all the things that I'm supposed to do, even though I was living dirty, is what caught me. And it was my friends. And the people that I'm now friends with, I've not found a word, an adjective to describe it. What would you describe that?
Family. That's like the best word I've ever found. And like
Who's family though?
Huh?
Everybody has a different
Who's family?
Family.
Everybody's family. You guys are my family.
Agreed.
I love you guys.
I 100% agree with you. Everybody thinks of family differently. Absolutely, I call that family. Like of what I perceive a family, quote unquote, should be.
Yeah. Sort of.
Know,
yeah.
Right?
Dysfunctional family. Yeah.
Just like
functionally dysfunctional.
Love and support and picking me up and snot and tears and just painful time. Never thought it was going to end. And I was told, just hold on. 6 to 8 months is what I was told. And a day was too long. I just could not even live a day. It was just so painful. I was crying all day long.
I've done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eric knows.
Of course.
Yes.
It's David. What do you expect?
I'm a crier.
Good. Crying is good.
I love it. I love
It's
crying.
good.
I do not judge my crying
I'm
at
not
all.
saying it's not good. I'm just talking,
I'm the West Side.
quality over quantity here,
I'm the West
David.
Side crier, and I know it, and it's fine.
It's like I watch Rent or Notebook for crying purposes.
Did you say Rent?
Yeah.
Rent doesn't do it for me.
Rent does, like, is it the AIDS that gets you, or?
It's a good. It's a fantastic musical.
Yeah, the love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess the AIDS.
It's a very touching.
Togetherness.
It's a very touching musical. Yeah.
Although Rent is exactly what my friends are. Like, they're just there for me. Like, we're just there for each other.
Yeah.
That's a good way to bring it back.
Right?
Nice.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
Full circle right there.
But that's how I get through life. I can't imagine any other way.
No.
And I'm certainly not the person that I was when I started my journey 7 years ago. Sometimes my mind is blown. Like I pick up my mind on walls. Like it's just as blown to pieces.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. Like you just, it's sort of like an out of body experience for a moment, at least for me. Like you'll just find yourself in a situation and it just zoops out and you're like, how the fuck did I get here? I used to do lots of fucking drugs and now I'm here and this moment's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm in a relationship and this person lives with me. I'm like, who am I? Really? I mean,
and he's awesome.
Yeah, he
Love
is.
him.
Yeah, he is. So just.
Can I name drop?
Yeah.
Logan, love you, buddy. Love you, man. We'll have you on here soon.
For sure. And just the way that the God of my understanding brought all of that, right? Like, look, even through the torment of being in an affair with a married man, of not feeling deserving, of not like, who's ever going to look beyond that, right? Like, because if the person, this is my greatest wish for myself. It always makes me cry, but I'm going to try not to. My wish and prayer for myself is that I see me through the eyes of you.
Oh.
And that I see me through the eyes of today. And that's not my quote. A friend of mine said that to me one time, that is like, she wants to see herself with the eyes of today, because so often I'm still that person, that 13-year-old girl that didn't belong, that got bullied all the time, that was not part of anything, right? People didn't want to be around her. Loser, really, essentially. I was a loser, and I had a nickname, and it was awful.
What was your nickname?
God, it had something to do with my hair. Forever would not wear my hair out because they called it like a loofah, but not like a loofah from Walmart, but like a loofah, like the one that's like scratches you.
Oh, like this actual like seal loofah? Oh, God.
Yeah. And so
kids are cruel.
Yeah.
Right, but look, right? Like the beautiful journey, right? Like writing about it, journaling about it, and knowing that something as simple as my hair, right? I was made fun of forever. I just had to learn to live with my hair being down. And as silly as it just is, right? It's the thing that held me hostage. Like my hair would always be up. It's really curly. I call it a Jufro. It's just frizzy. And so to be able to do that, right? And through all of that, for God to present like a person into my life that just fits just right, right? Just right, even with all my imperfections and all the whatever. And same with friends, like some of the people I'm friends with, our paths would never have crossed otherwise.
Yep.
And I had this great experience with this chick in my early recovery. We had like 4 months clean. She was like, hey, the Dalai Lama is in DC. Do you want to go?
Oh, rad.
Right? We took the train to DC. Right? Whoopi Goldberg interviewed him. We were like on the lawn, Capitol Hill. And never would have gone to something like that.
No.
And the traveling, right? And so I can talk about the traveling and going to, like, I've been to Israel 4 times. I've been to Rio. I'm planning to go to...
Yeah, you went to the convention in Brazil, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. So the next one's in Australia.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to save money to go there. And just to be able to go and do, right? Not to be bound by Edmondson Avenue.
Yeah.
Or not to be bound by North Avenue and not going outside of those parameters. Just like going and seeing the world. And it's
living a life.
Yeah. And at the same time knowing exactly, right? So to loop back around from the beginning, like exactly what this country offers for me, that like my parents brought me here and what I'm living out is exactly what they brought me here for. And to go to see how other people live and what they do, and to know that we're not the only ones that struggle with drinking or drugging.
Yeah.
That there's other people, and we speak all the same language.
Yep.
It's right, because I'm bilingual, so I can. That was another moment, right? Like to hear people speak in Russian, the exact words that you and I speak, but in a different language. I was mesmerized.
It's a language of love and recovery.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
And they struggle with the same stuff. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. I don't know what else.
Is that it?
So, yeah, we're on to questions, I guess.
On
right?
to questions. All right.
I can really relate to your bound towards Edmonton Avenue and like north. I've missed so many vacations because I can't leave. You know what I mean?
I want to see if I have one. Do I have one?
What, a question?
Yeah.
You stole mine question and taken it as your own. Do you still want that question?
Yes. So,
So you're just gonna wait. Do you wanna break it up a little bit, or you want to start first?
I'm starting first. I'm stealing. So, Yuliya, in recovery, how has your addiction manifested itself otherwise outside of alcohol and drugs?
In simplest terms, just for today, it's Red Bull. I know it's crazy, but it is Red Bull. Once I start drinking and I can't stop,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like on a 4-day bender of Red Bull.
Fantastic.
What flavor?
Yellow.
Okay,
Tropical.
that's what
summer-
That's what my
yeah.
wife likes. That's her favorite flavor.
Mine was the cranberry. Love the cranberry.
That, and I just tried coconut. That was amazing. But I'm just trying to not drinking at all.
Yes.
I'm just like, it's a coconut berry. Definitely shopping. But I'm like a binge shopper. So I'm a huge saver of money to extreme, unhealthy. Won't eat. Like there used to be a time where I wouldn't like eat. Like I'll eat ramen noodles just to put an extra $1 in savings. I'm trying to work more towards reality in that, right? But if I'm trying to take how I'm feeling and just trying to, what is it? Something outside of myself. For sure, going to like a store and buying clothes is it. 100%. What else? I think those are my two vices. Those are my two. I'll just go and I'll spend a bunch, because what'll happen is
energy drinks and money.
Yeah, because
Those
what
are
happens
not good
is
friends either.
the come down from it, right, is the same.
Yeah.
I just feel like shit.
Oh, yeah.
I immediately call somebody and I'm like, oh my God, I just went and I spent all this money and I'm off. And they can relate, right? It's like a high. When I'm there, it's a high.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going through all the clearance section. I love the clearance section. I love the secondhand stores.
Bargain shopping?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Right? I'll do all of that. And then I come home and I have all the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Check my bank account. And I'm like depressed.
And then you cry for 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, right. Right. But it's a recurring thing. And then everything will be fine for a while. And then I'll go on a bender of spending again.
Yeah. It happens. All right, Eric.
All right, so let's see. So, okay, you're a transplant from Russia.
Yeah.
So, do you believe
Mother Russia.
that being a transplant might have, obviously, to preface this question, we all have a certain amount of addiction, like disorder within us, to start life or whatever. But do you believe that move might have prompted you to go into that direction of like being an addict?
No.
No?
No. No.
Okay.
All right. Really? Like, I just...
Well then, no, there's a second.
Oh, there's a follow-up. Excuse me.
Would you believe the assimilation might have played a factor?
I don't know what that word means.
Okay, so
Yeah, a transplant. So
Becoming an American.
yeah, okay. So from going from like you were saying you were 16, doing like the Russian culture, like, people were kids were drinking, the adults were drinking. but trying to assimilate to an American culture, do you think like some of that, and you're talking about being bullied, part of that was that, did you have more of an accent or something like along those lines? Do you think those little things might, and you said you didn't feel a part of, where maybe drinking and drugs make you feel a part of, do you think those little things of trying to assimilate led you to like, trying that drink, trying that drug?
I think the fact that I got bullied outside of my circle and within my circle is what happened. It's just, I don't know how or why. I'm not saying in no way was I a victim. My best friend and I, like, we're still best friends, right? We've been friends. She's my only normie friend. Like, she's my only friend that's not in recovery. We've been friends for 22 years. And both of us got bullied. I don't know why, how, I don't know any of that. But the fitting in with that, because for a long time, I never even knew an American person. It was, our subculture was truly, we stuck to each other. Oh, please, they still do. They really do. They have not, they go to the same clubs. They party with the same people. It's all the same. Like, here we are we're in our mid 30s, and it's all, when I look at their pictures, it's all the same. They've like stuck in this time warp. So it's the fitting in with them that it was, because they were drinking, they were partying, and I just wanted to be part of them. So it wasn't so much moving and changing the cultures. It was just belonging with them. And that's what they did.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Okay, so this question, I feel this is my new question that I've been asking people. I feel like it's a little controversial. The steps question.
Oh.
So
Controversial.
you don't like a lot of my answers about the steps, but that's fine. So have you worked all of your steps, or where are you right now?
Oh, I'm pumped. I love steps.
So where are you right now?
I'm on my second round of steps, and I'm on my fourth step.
Awesome. What?
Ooh, good.
That's awesome. Okay. So obviously, again, all steps are equal, and you utilize them in your daily life how you see fit and when needed. But if you had to choose a favorite, just like a child, which one is your favorite?
6, hands down.
Nice.
Oh, really?
That's a fast answer.
That was really fast.
It was the most transforming step of my life.
Nice. Yeah, 6 is good.
As a matter of fact, so the affair ended between 6 and 7. It was a monumental step. It is the step that showed me that I no longer wanted to be that woman. And that was the step that my sponsor said, you're either going to grow or go. And that was the step during which I started praying, God, I don't want to live like this anymore. It was monumental. It was painful. It was uncomfortable. The cool thing about being in recovery is that I could now ask people questions that I didn't know, right? The cool thing is that really it's a sign of humility, which is such a beautiful thing, right? Like to not know and to be able to ask. Right? It is my most favorite asset in a person, like humility, just the lack of ego, right? And so I would come up to people and I would constantly ask, how was your 6th step? How's your 6th step? And they would say, we know exactly where you're at. Just keep doing it. Just keep writing. Don't sit on it, but don't speed through it. Just do it. And I can't wait to get back on it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I have a question.
Yeah.
So you said you were raised Jewish.
Yeah.
How much has like organized religion and then choosing a higher power of your understanding, like how much of that is how has it been married? Like,
So that's why it's been difficult. So we didn't necessarily practice Judaism as a religion.
Okay.
We practiced a lot of tradition, right? So all the high holidays. And so on my 11th step, when I'm like going out there and trying to like get closer to the God of my understanding, it's still been difficult because I still haven't concretely found look, I look at some people, I hear some people, and they know without a shadow of a doubt, like, what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I know the relationship, but I'm still in fear of sometimes of like, if I'm not good, I'll get punished.
Oh.
That's been the struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody ever taught me to be afraid of a God.
Yeah.
I think it's the fear of my dad, honestly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was so physically abusive. It's the fear of my dad that is then I heard that people had fear of God that I still cannot get over. I can, yeah, when I think about it, I know that there are no such things as coincidences.
Yep.
I was driving the other day. To speak at a facility Friday night. It was raining. And I was trying to find their address. And I try not to text and drive, honestly.
Yes.
So, but I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to find it. And for some reason, Google's not giving me the address. And I look up. And there's a police officer with one of those wands waving, right? Apparently there was an accident. So they were just trying to slow me down.
Yeah.
Not me, any car.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Traffic.
Had I not looked up at that exact moment, I wouldn't have slammed on my brakes. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then I drove off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is not a coincidence. To me, that is a God of my understanding just catching my attention.
Yeah.
And there's been many things. My favorite second step story, which is the evidence to me, the evidence of there's something greater than me and something greater than the drug itself, was I was driving on a suspended license forever.
Nice.
I was uninsured because that's weird. It got in the way of using. Why would I spend $160 on car insurance?
Yeah, that's dumb.
So I had like 4 months. I was on my second step. I had more than 4 months clean. So I don't know how long I drove uninsured. Finally got insurance. Went to Kohl's, spent money.
Yep.
Called my sponsor and I said, they will not give me a registration for my car because apparently there's some fees. And so, of course, everybody...
fees.
Yeah, like flags and stuff.
So everybody starts telling me how big the fees are, right?
They're very big.
Oh, yes.
So my sponsor said, why are you listening to everybody? Just call and ask. And I had like a fear of that. So finally I call. And I've been sent to collections. So I called the collections and they said it was somewhere near $1,000, right? So I had just went to Kohl's. So my sponsor says, go return. I'm like, oh no. I'll find a way.
Yeah, of course.
Call my mom, borrow money from my mom, go to the MBA on a Saturday. They're closed. Of course, I raised a big stink. I am now fully self-supporting adult, productive member of society. I can't come here Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
So I go to the kiosk, thank God, right? And I only owed $15. So because I don't pay attention to my tax refunds, because I don't plan on I don't spend money in hopes that my refund is going to be X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I wasn't relying on that money. The state took my money.
Oh, they
So
took
I
it
only
for
owed
collections.
$15. Yes.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was such a relief. I was like, oh God, thank you.
What'd you do with the other 900?
Gave it back to my mom.
Very good. Very good.
So it hasn't
Did
been.
you sweat for a minute where you're like, I could just tell her it's 1,000 and pocket
No,
this?
I can't.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I'd have mulled that over. I would have helped. That would have been some hot money in my hand.
I was like an honest addict.
Yeah.
I was. I think because my family didn't trust me so much, I was overly honest.
Interesting.
But to your question, it's been a struggle.
Yeah.
But it's in no way has it been so much of a struggle that I've given up on finding my way. No.
No, it's an evolving process.
But I wish I would like get there already. Not to say that I'm arrived, but just
there is no arrival.
Right.
It's a beautiful journey.
Yes.
What else you got?
This is my last question.
Ooh,
So,
I want to see if I have one more.
okay, so I guess in recovery is just for today,
Yes.
right? But I am a firm believer in 5-year plans. Actually, any type of plans, like, Post-it notes, plans, to-dos. 5-year plans I think are very important. especially when you look at them 5 years later and you see how much you've accomplished. It's a very cool feeling. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Ooh.
So that's another one of my struggles. You know when you're using, you don't see a future.
Yeah.
Not that I don't see a future. I haven't thought about a future because I get so excited. So that's waiting for the other shoe to drop kind of thing.
Yep.
And so, God, I love recovery so much. It just your question brings something to it, like to an awareness for me. Why not have a 5-year plan? So the one reason I can tell you is as soon as I start planning, I have this plan to pay off my debt. It's going to happen. It's going to happen within the next couple of months. The problem with the plan is I want it now.
Yeah.
That's the problem with the 5-year plan.
Yeah.
Because then I want it now. And so, it's a food for thought.
Well, okay. So the wanting it now, right? Like, so I remember when I went to college, right? And I'm like, well, I want this degree now, but I don't get it now. So making a 5-year plan at the beginning of college, at year 5, I'm done college. So you can see that paid off.
So like more like guidelines, like an abstract 5-year
I
plan.
mean,
Is that what you mean?
there's a list. I found a few. Yeah, I mean, things, you don't get to everything, right?
Well, yeah.
But there was a list I found where it was like, open my own business, move to a different city, graduate college. And I'm like, I looked at it, I was like, dope. Did all this.
Yeah.
Like, like every one. And it's like, I didn't expect to hit every one of those. But looking back on it, it's like, oh, cool, I have done something.
Yeah. My 2 cents on that is, I look back, because I'm coming up on 6 years clean. I'm looking back at 1 year clean, and there's no fucking possible way that what I could have planned for back then is where I would be today.
Well,
to some extent, like it's been crazy. Life has been crazy. Like people.
Is it beyond the 1 year?
What do you mean?
From what I'm understanding, like at 1 year, what you thought, is it beyond that?
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's so different. Like people have changed, people have come and gone. Some people are no longer with us. This and that, and like lost relationships, gained relationships, lost jobs, gained jobs. So yeah, like
it's a potential path. Is the way that that is the way that I look at it. It's like, I can try these things.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Life happens. I tried.
It does, but I
try
don't
and stay
know.
in the now as much as I can.
Yeah, but then how are you going to get what you want to get? Like if
By
you're
doing the right things today.
If you want to, okay, so if you want to buy a house, right, or you want a job, let's use the job. Because I used to go to a lot of noon meetings, and this is a great one, right? So you see a lot of people who are unemployed at noon meetings.
Yes.
And from my perspective, so if you say, I'm just going to turn it over and God will take care of it, there is a point where action is required.
Yeah.
Like you can't just turn it over. You have to act in order to achieve something.
Yeah. And I think there is meeting in the middle. Like the higher powers are going to do work on their end and I have to do work on my end, and it'll meet somewhere in the middle. As long as I keep showing up to work, keep saving a little money.
Yeah.
And just keep doing the next right thing, then eventually certain windows open up. Like you never know, like somebody will present you with an opportunity tomorrow that you didn't expect today. And it can, you can go on a whole different avenue from there. I mean,
yeah.
I see what you're saying though, Eric. I do. But the interesting thing is that I haven't given it a thought.
Yeah.
And I think I'm robbing myself by not giving it a thought. Because I do believe, so the best way I can describe my higher power.
Go home and talk a 5-year plan with Logan. Then
for sure. Well, for sure. There will be a beginning of it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm going to call my sponsor and say, God, I have a 5-year plan. because it all goes back to not being worthy of the 5-year plan. It's not that I don't want to have a plan. It's just I don't feel worthy of having a plan. And then that is a reflection of how I'm really robbing myself off of that, because the best way I can describe my higher power is law of attraction. And so, but if I'm not giving myself that, if I'm not giving myself a vision, then how can I attract anything? And so I can tell you that, like, I bought a condo 2 years ago. Nobody helped me buy it, right? My parents, unfortunately, they would love to help me now. Like, they would love to. They're just not able to financially.
Yeah.
They helped me where they could, right? They got me like a couch and a TV that was nice, but they couldn't have like cash to give me to put up, right? So during those times I didn't eat and I was eating ramen noodles. At least now I have a house to show for, a condo to show for. So, it's, I want to think about it.
All right.
I want to give myself that, right? Like, I want to give myself that gift.
Yeah. 100%.
Of having
A possibility.
How could I have never not thought of that? Did I think my life was going to be over?
Well, I mean, when
Some
you're
people do, some
using,
people don't.
you do, right? When you're using, like, I never thought I was going to make it past 24.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I thought 24 was it. And, you know, I guess it's all on borrowed time.
Yeah.
But that's why recovery is beautiful, right? Like, we're sitting here hanging out, right?
Yeah.
And just your questions, like, bam, and it gives you something to think about.
We'll be cleaning Yuliya's brains off the wall. Because
Yeah.
my mind is blown. There it
For
is.
sure.
Right back.
Nice. Anything else? Any other questions?
I'm done. Yeah.
I'm good. Do you have anything? Final words?
I do want to say final words because
maybe
it's just,
in Russian.
What can I say in Russian first? Я очень рада, что я себе дала шанс жить. I'm really happy and grateful that I gave myself a chance to live.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's good.
It sounded better in Russian too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do want to say part because it's just every day is accumulation, and days and weeks is accumulation of a beautiful process of knowing that no matter what happens, I can get through to the other side. Knowing exactly what the definition of give time is, knowing that even in my darkest times when there is no light at the tunnel, I know that the light will come on and then the end of the tunnel will appear. And all I have to do is give myself time. And even though I want it right now, and listen, forever, for years, I was the single person crying, saying that I'm going to like just die by myself. Nobody wants me. And like wanting it now and not knowing how it was ever going to happen. And yet it was presented to me. And all I needed to do was give myself time. And yet that is the hardest thing to do while it's happening. And so, you know, in 5 years, when we're back, maybe not in this exact place, you know, I'll tell you, right? Like, I'll tell you where I'm at. And as long as I keep myself involved, as long as I keep going to meetings and I keep writing on my steps, and I am like in numerous literature studies, right? And I am of service, not just to a fellowship that I belong to, but to my community and people around me. That's what makes my life a little bit unmanageable today. But those are also the things that have afforded me to stay clean, and just knowing that, but really believing at my core that nothing is worth using over. And in those dark times, and not pinning myself in the corner that I can't get out of clean. I'm having the awareness, being able to hear when I'm being pulled up, like all of those things. I'm grateful that I have them just for today. And as long as I keep doing what I'm doing now, I'll be able to hear and see and believe the things that I believe today. That's it.
Fantastic.
Cool.
That's the best last words we've had.
That's good.
A+.
That's good.
All right. Well, we would like to thank our guest Yuliya for coming and sharing her story with us today. Cue the clap track, Eric. it's such a pathetic.
Thank you guys for having me. It's really a privilege.
Thank you for coming out.
Truly appreciate it.
Yeah.
I do.
Here at Podcast Recovery, we are aiming to expand the scope of support for recovering addicts. Accessibility and convenience of helpful services is paramount to combating addiction. We work to bring the message of recovery to every addict, wherever and whenever it is needed. We believe that a powerful voice of recovery should be obtainable, practical, and at the touch of a button. Every addict deserves to hear a message of hope, and Podcast Recovery is here to provide it. Well, great job, everybody.
Yeah,
thank you.
Great.
Thank you, listeners across the world. Hopefully, some Russians got some enjoyment out of that. We love you here in America. Please follow us on Twitter. Go to our website, podcastrecovery.com. Follow us on Facebook. Like, subscribe, review.
Do all of it.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
Leave a question for us, and we'll read it on air.
Yes, do leave a question.
Give you a little shout out.
We will answer it.
Yeah, if you want a specific topic, anything, let us know. And
literally anything.
Yeah, we love our listeners, and
we love participation.
Yeah, we love participation, 100%. Yes. Thank you again, Yuliya. You did a great job. Everybody have a good night. Stay safe.
Have a good night.
Stay clean.